Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. So we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanized so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent, joining you live at afternoon drive time, where I'm in touch and so you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast, powered by KBLA. That way, you won't miss some of our most memorable conversations. In fact, we just dropped a bunch of podcast episodes including our conversation with Senator Cory Booker and Senator Chris Murphy, and with a number of really interesting guests. And so run, don't walk to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast powered by KBLA, because, you know, More Perfect Union, it's an awfully popular name, just saying, and we got you covered. All right, it's Monday, June 8th, and if you thought this week was going to be slow, baby, ICE is hiding bodies. A judge just body slammed a $100,000 visa fee, and we're about to find out if LA is finally ready to put somebody new in the mayor's office, or continue to support Mayor Bass for a second term. This is A More Perfect Union. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, reporting for duty here at KBLA Talk 1580, the only Black-owned and operated talk station west of the Mississippi. If you're new here, welcome home. If you've been riding with us, you already know. All right. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off here, listen, I want you to really hear this one. ICE has announced that it will no longer publicly report the deaths of detainees who have been recently released from its custody. Let me say that again for the people in the back. ICE will not be telling you when people die after they leave their facilities. Now, the cynics among us, the folks who've been paying attention to the administration since day one, are saying, of course they won't. And the optimists are saying, can they even do that? And the answer apparently is they're about to try. This is not a bureaucratic paperwork shuffle. This is a transparency rollback designed to make the trail of accountability go cold. And if you don't count the body, guess what? The body doesn't count. That's the logic. That's always been the logic. And we're not going to let it slide past us on a Monday afternoon. On to our next story. And this one is very different in energy. A federal judge has struck down the Trump administration's $100,000 fee on new H-1B visas. $100,000 per visa. Now, I want you to think about that number for a second. We're talking about highly skilled workers, engineers, doctors, researchers, many of whom come from India, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from all over the world. And the administration said, sure, you can come work here. That'll be $100,000. A judge said, not so fast, ruled it unlawful. And while the H-1B visa program, the H-1B program has plenty of legitimate debates around it, workers' rights, displacement, corporate exploitation, what this fee was designed to do was not protect American workers. It was designed to slam a door, and a federal court agreed. Now, let's talk money of a completely different kind. I'm talking about New York City. New York City is throwing itself a World Cup party. $500 million? That's a billion. New York is spending $500 million to host World Cup matches this summer. Infrastructure, security, logistics, the whole thing. And the question that every city in this country should be asking is who benefits and who pays? Because we already know the answer isn't the same group of people. It never is. And so we're going to keep an eye on that one. And finally, right here at home, right here in Los Angeles, Nithya Raman has leaped past Spencer Pratt. Yes, that's Spencer Pratt, the reality TV Spencer Pratt, who somehow became a candidate for mayor of the second largest city in America and is now in position to make the LA mayoral runoff. The race is still tight, still unresolved as of this broadcast. But what it tells us is that LA, our beloved city of angels, is having a real conversation about what kind of leadership it wants. And the fact that a community-rooted progressive is running neck and neck with a man who is famous for being shady on the hills, that tells you everything you need to know about where we are. More on that as results come in. But when we come forward, South Carolina's governor's race is testing whether a Trump endorsement still means anything. Plus, DOGE allegedly tried to declare 2.7 million living Americans dead. And the banks, they're already planning to lay off before the AI even shows up to work. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it!
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, the Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Hit me! National News The Consequence. Informed opinion and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and always delighted to be in conversation with two of some of my best and brightest contributors. We're joined by William Godwin. He is a former White House fellow, and he is a former Gary City Council president, as well as Isaac Wilson. He is a Democratic strategist hailing from the great state of South Carolina, both here to help us make it make sense. Welcome, gents.
Good to be on. Good to be on. Miss you guys.
Likewise. Good evening, everybody.
Well, good to have you both on. So let's start in South Carolina, because this is a story about power. It's about loyalty and whether the brand still moves the product. There's a Republican primary happening for governor down there, and Donald Trump has made his endorsement. And the question that the New York Times is asking, the question I want to ask you both, starting with you, Isaac, is does a Trump endorsement still carry the weight it used to?
I think it's beginning to lose its power around the country, but specifically here in South Carolina, because we are seeing races that are normally wide in Republican game, that the numbers are showing that we're closing in on those races. And the person that he endorsed for governor, she's not looking so good. It's not as far in between her and Alan Wilson, who is the current attorney general. He's playing the nice guy. He's playing the nice role for the Republicans right now. He's not being too mean, but he's still on the coattail of Trump, making the comment that, hey, he picked his candidate, but I'm still a Trump lover. I'm still in Trump's corner, although he didn't endorse me. So he's playing that role, and she has to come up with a new base of people after what she said, even about an HBCU and how they are now going to the General Assembly and drafting the bill saying, hey, let's get rid of $15 million because this mob of students came after me and told me they didn't want me to be their commissioner speaker. So there's a lot of different things and challenges that she has to do because she just can't shut her mouth. So I don't think that Trump endorsement is doing her pretty good right now.
William, we've watched endorsements win races. We've also watched endorsed candidates lose in ways that should have been embarrassing. What insights have you gleaned from what's afoot in South Carolina, and what does it mean for the broader MAGA infrastructure heading into this election cycle?
I think it really just depends, right? Ken Paxton in Texas, right, just had a great victory against a very long-term incumbent, John Cornyn, right? And we know that Paxton was endorsed by Trump, and both of them were vying for that endorsement. So I do think there's a lot of local flavor to Isaac's point with the individual candidates. What types of issues are they coming up against? What types of statements have they made which might make them unpopular in ways that a Trump endorsement cannot help them? So I really think it just depends. But I do think there's a lot of folks who were strong Trump supporters, but coming into this midterm are taking a different look at him. He's chosen to endorse neither of the leading Republicans in Texas for governor. And so I think he's also mindful of what it looks like when he is not successful with his endorsements.
Now, Isaac, there's a lot happening in South Carolina as we're on the eve of the South Carolina primary. On the Democratic side, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What should we be paying attention to on primary day?
Oh man, it is interesting here in South Carolina when it comes to politics lately. You have an African American in Jermaine Johnson, whom, as a former party chair, I've endorsed. But he's running against Mullins McLeod, a lawyer here. He's running against Billy Webster, the billionaire payday loan shark here in South Carolina. But every major African American elected official or contributor to some news channel have endorsed Billy Webster. Actually wanted Mr. Johnson to drop out of the race when he's had so much traction. So it is definitely going to be an emotional day tomorrow, all throughout the races here, but particularly the governor's race on tomorrow.
And we know that South Carolina, there are a lot of Democrats who have been making early visits to South Carolina. We know it's still the early primary state for the 2028 Democratic presidential primary. So who have you seen down in South Carolina lately, just sort of milling around?
Andy Brashear was the speaker at the Palmetto Blue dinner. Of course, a friend of Clyburn's here. Ro Khanna has made probably 50 trips here in the
50?
past year. He's been here quite often. I would bet you it's up there. It's up there. In the past 2 years, he's been here a lot. Cory Booker has made his stamp here. He's here probably every 3 to 4 months, making a visit somewhere, doing something. So those have been the middle of the run candidates for right now. But like you said, as we get through this election here in November, you will start to see those candidates flock to South Carolina because we do pick presidents.
You certainly do. And we're so glad that we have you on the ground there to be our eyes and ears as things continue to develop. But now let me pivot to something else. If it weren't documented by a whistleblower, I would have thought that someone made it up. The Washington Post is reporting that Trump officials, through DOGE, they plan to mark 2.7 million living Americans as dead in federal databases. 2.7 million people. Now, I need you all to help me understand the architecture of this, because on the surface, it sounds chaotic, but chaotic for whom? Because if your social security number says you're deceased, guess what happens? Your benefits stop. Your bank accounts get flagged. Your identity, legally speaking, dissolves. And you, a living, breathing person, have to prove that you exist. That's not incompetence. That's a weapon, right, William?
Absolutely. And it's very scary because we know how many millions of Americans of every age, race, creed, geography, and political position rely on Social Security to make it, right? To pay their healthcare bills, to put food on the table, to pay for prescription drugs, pay rent, right, or mortgage in some cases. And so even though it's not a lot of money for folks of higher income, for many people, grandparents, especially older voters, it is a true lifeline. Now, I know Social Security has widened, right? It's also with folks who have certain disabilities are also benefiting from it. But I think I'm glad the whistleblower had the courage to speak out, because we would not know these things if it were not for those folks who are willing to speak out.
I mean, definitely no laughing matter, Isaac. The fact that there are a number of people out there whose lives will be completely upended simply because the government says you're dead. I mean, is this a new low? Is this a new low in terms of the Trump administration weaponizing the power of the federal government?
Oh, most definitely. This one here takes the cake. My grandmother relies on Social Security, right, to do everyday expenses, to pay bills, to buy grocery. And so to wake up one morning and now you're dead, and yet you're alive. That is shocking to a lot of people. And you shouldn't play with people's lives like that. And then coming from a president who says that he doesn't really care about the finances of Americans at this point. He's talking about other stuff and doing other stuff. So this here is definitely a new low. And for these white evangelical Christians, this shouldn't be something that you are happy about. This is to be everybody should be outraged. If you're saying that you're a Christian, and this isn't the Christian thing to do, and this has nothing, says nothing about Jesus at all. So this is definitely a new low for Donald Trump and his administration.
Yeah, it's a new low, no doubt. William, I want to ask you about some of the implications here related to our upcoming elections, right? And so, if you happen to be among the 2.7 million, where the federal government then said you dead when you're alive, talk to us about what that looks like on election day, and how things could quickly go from bad to worse, because if you're marked as dead and there you are at a polling place dropping in your ballot, right? Is it possible that these 2.7 million people, if they're voters, could potentially catch a case simply exercising their right to vote?
Well, I think that gets very complicated, and I'd be curious to know on what basis they have ruled these individuals to be quote unquote deceased, right? Is this an error in the system? I know in the early days of DOGE, there was a simple misunderstanding of how Social Security had historically categorized individuals, right? There were certain letters and numbers that were used, which they mistook for people being deceased who were actually alive, right? But there were other categories to qualify people. So I do think we know our seniors across the board, across this country, are the highest turnout. And we know that obviously seniors are the biggest beneficiaries of Social Security funds. And so this is a very much kitchen table issue, but not just for those seniors. To Isaac's point, their children, right, who are often helping to subsidize their parents' or loved ones' monthly income, but also the siblings, the spouses of individuals who are receiving these benefits. It's a whole family affair. And so I know that we have many people taking into consideration, and I do think it is a kitchen table issue that will have implications at the ballot box.
It will have implications at the ballot box, no doubt. This is it's a weird story. It's a weird story. And look, for everybody that was wondering what's Elon Musk up to, for folks who are wondering, well, why was DOGE trying so hard to get access to the Social Security database? Isaac, does this potentially answer that question?
Oh, definitely. Is this what he was doing? This is why he went missing to start doing this this kind of zombie apocalypse kind of move that they're pulling. This does definitely, let you know what they're up to. Again, this is a part of trying to steal elections. Donald Trump is still talking about races being, he's been cheating in elections and about things being fake and all this stuff. And this is just another way for Donald Trump to meddle in elections. So Elon Musk is still doing the bidding for Donald Trump. He's going to continue to do that because he's making money off Americans and the government every single day.
William, before we go to break, I got to ask you this. We know that Fortune is reporting that major financial institutions are already laying the groundwork for mass workforce cuts, not because business is bad, because AI is coming for entry-level jobs and junior analysts. Here's my question for both of you, and I'll start with William in our remaining minute here, this segment. We keep being told that AI is going to create new jobs as it displaces old ones. But when you look at banking, an industry that already has massive racial and class inequities in hiring, what does this actually mean for the young people who thought a finance job was their ticket to the middle class?
I think it's quite scary. In fact, I just spent the past couple days at an HBCU Futures conference where we were looking at AI and technology and how many of these companies are either laying off all their employees and trying to train exactly for the skills that they want, that they think will be complementary to AI and other technology. But to your point, it creates a great gap because we need those entry-level jobs, right, in order to have a place for young people coming out of college and other training programs to learn the workforce, right, to get an opportunity to grow their skills and to move up the ladder. Where do you go, right, to start if we're going to eliminate that? And we're seeing it even in computer science and cybersecurity, jobs that were coding, right, which were guaranteed entry points into the middle class, where even those jobs, computer science majors, are finding it difficult. I don't know where these jobs of the future are headed. I do think we're going to continue to see a gig economy, an entrepreneurial economy, continue to expand, where folks will be selling their services, selling their competencies for a particular set of time. But I hope those also come with benefits, right, which we know is also often absent for gig economy workers.
That's right. In our remaining 30 seconds, your reaction, Isaac?
I mean, for years, people have told young folk to start at the bottom and work their way up. And now banks and AI and everybody's kind of just taking the bottom ring of the ladder from underneath their feet. And we're going to be wondering why people aren't climbing. And that is the reason. AI is going to be the reason why people aren't climbing the ladders anymore. And banks are at the helm of it. So we'll see where things go.
We shall see. We shall see. When we come forward, we're going to keep the conversation going more with Democratic strategist Isaac Wilson and former White House fellow William Godwin. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump says the U.S. could work with Iran to destroy its highly enriched uranium if a deal is reached.
We'll take it out and destroy it.
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Trump said the two countries are very close to an agreement, but warned Iran could face more military action if talks fail. The Iowa Supreme Court says the University of Iowa cannot change how it distributes a privately funded scholarship intended for Black students. The donor's will specified the money should go to Black students majoring in the physical sciences. And Baltimore, Maryland's Safe Summer program is underway after Black Mayor Brandon Scott launched it at Druid Hill Park. The program includes community events and resources aimed at promoting peace and public safety. This year's theme is Breaking Chains, Chasing Change. Last year, Safe Streets held about 60 events, including block parties and school supply giveaways. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Wild Rivers is now open daily with over 25 slides and attractions for thrill seekers and lazy river chillers. Visit wildrivers.com for great values on season passes and daily tickets. That's wildrivers.com. Wild Rivers, where there's sun and fun for everyone.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The first NBA Finals game in New York City since 1999 helped raise $1 million in a charity auction for 2 seats in the VIP celebrity section. 2 executives at a New York law firm combined to donate the $1 million for seats at tonight's Game 3 between the Knicks and San Antonio Spurs at Madison Square Garden. The money went for a good cause to the Garden of Dreams Foundation, a charity that helps underprivileged children in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. 6 new members of the Black College Football Hall of Fame were inducted Sunday in Atlanta. Alabama State head coach Eddie Robinson Jr., former Fort Valley State cornerback Tyrone Poole, former Bethune-Cookman free safety Nick Collins, former Jackson State wide receiver Jimmy Smith, former Florida A&M coach Rudy Hubbard, and NFL Network reporter Steve Weiss, an alumnus of Howard University. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr. $2.5 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom said it was there for fire survivors in Altadena and the Palisades. No strings attached. That was the promise. But the burning question is, where's it at? 18 months later, an NBC4 investigation came back with the numbers. The numbers don't answer the question, they deepen it. Where's it at? About $605 million has been spent, roughly 75% still not released. Where's it at? Roughly $14 million went to CHP overtime and ICE immigration protest response for crowd control. Not rebuilding homes, not rebuilding lives, but crowd control. Where's it at? Another $13 million went to the state health department for video campaigns while fire survivors waited. While families in Altadena are still trying to put their lives back together, still trying to get housed, this is the hope gap and it's real. Where's it at? Southern California Edison is still in court, still fighting liability tied to the Eaton fire, still not accountable. Where's it at? 18 months later, Governor Newsom, where's it at? Because the truth is free, but the lie can be very expensive. And right now, fire survivors want to know what happened to no strings attached. And I've been saying on this mic for the past 18 months, somebody or somebodies didn't do their job. Now it's documented. Governor Newsom, listen closely. You didn't do your job. You didn't keep your promise. You held up the bill. Now stop holding up the money. You said no strings attached. Instead, you played on the people's heartstrings. Where's it at? See, Governor Newsom, even at the French Laundry, if it don't come out in the wash, it's sure enough gonna come out in the rinse, and the rinse cycle is here. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Yeah, I changed my glasses. In case you're wondering, for people who are streaming, like, wait a minute, he looks a little bit different. Yes, I changed my glasses. I do all sorts of things when we're on commercial break. I'm delighted to be in conversation with my friends, my brothers, William Godwin. Can we see William Godwin? Yep. William Godwin, former White House fellow and former Gary City Council president. Also, Dr. Isaac Wilson. He's a Democratic strategist hailing from the great state of South Carolina, always keeping his ear to the ground. around them parts and beyond. And so, um, listen, Isaac and William, um, you know, let's start with food because hunger is a political issue, whether Washington wants to admit it or not. A federal judge has halted the Trump administration's SNAP funding restrictions, and that's food stamps for anyone who doesn't use the acronym SNAP. They halted Trump's SNAP funding restrictions in response to a lawsuit that was filed by not one, not two, not five, not 10, but 20 states. That's a coalition. That's people saying you don't get to use food as a weapon against vulnerable families and call it policy. William, what's the significance of this ruling, and what does it say that it took 20 state attorneys general to stop the federal government from starving people?
Well, number one, I think it's important to note that it's 20 Democratic states attorneys general. And I think it's very important that the Democratic Party at every level, state government, federal government, local government, is united. And so to see the attorneys general working together on an important issue that affects multiple states all across this country is inspiring to see. Number two, it's good to see that they're calling out the BS, right? Tying food resources to compliance with gender ideologies and I think ICE enforcement and other areas is absolutely ridiculous. People's ability to get food is elemental, it's fundamental, it's human, it's the right thing to do that we've done for generations to ensure that at a basic level, people have access to food. And so I'm glad that they're standing together, that they're calling it out. And judges, right, are also, even many Trump appointed judges in a whole lot of different types of cases are actually standing up with what's right from a legal standpoint.
Isaac, let's talk about the folks who may catch a stray in this back and forth between the Trump administration and these 20 state attorneys general. Look, I think on its face, they want us to think that the people that rely on SNAP look a lot like us, look a lot like our family members. But the fact of the matter is there are a lot of people, a lot of white people across the country, probably more white people across the country that rely on and benefit from SNAP. Is this politically, is this something that is going to come back and bite Trump and the administration in the hiney as we get closer to the November election?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you take food from people's tables and they're already struggling to make ends meet for an economy that he said he was going to help when he first got there, and he was going to drive down costs, and he drove them up. And now you're saying, well, the little bit of food you do have from the assistance that the government helps you with, we're going to take that away. So I think food assistance should never be treated as a political football. So when millions of families depend on the program to put food on the table, government has a responsibility, right, to make sure the policy decisions are rooted in facts and ideology. So people can disagree about government spending, they can disagree about regulations, but hunger, that should not be a partisan issue at all.
I mean, it's not lost on me that the same kind of economic warfare that we are seeing this federal judge respond to related to SNAP. Well, I just came back from Cuba and I saw the humanitarian crisis unfolding there on the ground. And that's also a demonstration of the same kind of economic warfare. This idea that, if you create a blockade and if you punk allies around the world, from breaking that blockade and providing essential support to the Cuban people, then they may catch a case. And so, William, are we seeing a Trump doctrine that essentially says that economic warfare is, a tool that is par for the course, whether we're talking about foreign policy or domestic policy?
Well, I think you're right. I think that Trump has made it clear that he is willing to use his power of the purse, the power to spend, and connect that with a policy agenda, whether it's support for foreign policy or domestic policy. So that's clear. Congress does not seem to have the wits or the wherewithal to really stand up to that. Obviously, we hope that there'll be some change after November and certainly in next year in January. And in some cases, the courts, right, have allowed him to sort of use the power of the purse in ways that are overtly political and not germane, right, to the actual expenditure that Congress has already approved. And so that is the song of the day, and it's scary, but I'm hopeful that we will start to see feedback from those most affected. And that's what's important. If they don't think they're going to hear back in ways that matter to them at the polling sites, right, as a consequence of these types of decisions, then I think we'll see more of this.
Yeah. Well, on to another really important story. Let me just say that this is a story that goes beyond American politics. And it goes beyond American politics, but it speaks to this global reckoning. Pope Leo has urged Spanish bishops to provide reparations to survivors of clergy sexual abuse. That's right, reparations, that word, from the Vatican. Now, I want to be careful here because this is about survivors first, but I do want to note that when the institution that has historically been most resistant to accountability uses the word reparations, that's a signal worth paying attention to. Isaac, what's your read?
I think words matter, but people's actions matter more. I think survivors of abuse have spent years carrying pain, while institutions often protected themselves. So instead of protecting victims, rather, so apologies are meaningful only when they are accompanied by accountability. And I think this is the right charge for Pope Leo, to have transparency and real efforts to make people whole. And that's what survivors want. They don't want a lot of word. They don't want a lot of jargon. They want you to do something in a meaningful way. And this will change their lives and hopefully put them at ease just a little bit, although they're going to live with the pain and abuse they've suffered for years. But this will put them at ease just a little bit, knowing that their lives will be made whole in some way, some fashion. So true to measure of repentance isn't what is said from a pulpit, is what is done for those who are harmed. And he's putting his words to action.
He sure is, but we can't ignore the politics of this, William, because look, Pope Leo is doing something that folks have been looking to see for some time now. Talk to us about the timing of this, while at the same time we're seeing a Department of Justice slow walk any accountability for any of the folks involved with the Epstein case here in the United States.
Well, I think Pope Leo has been quite provocative, right? and has been willing to push the envelope in ways that we have not seen maybe forever, since maybe John the 23rd, or in a long time in terms of coming from the Vatican. I think he brings a very different perspective. I think he is very open. I think he's from the United States, right? There's a lot of elements to what he brings to bear that has been non-traditional, right, from the papacy. And so I think he's going to continue to push the envelope. I think it does speak to how victims of crimes are being treated and how we respond to that. And so I hope that people will catch on, but more importantly, that it will be a preventive measure, right? Because we don't want the harm to happen in the first place. But I am happy to hear, right, that the Vatican is taking this issue seriously and sees the need, right, to repair as much as one can the damage that has already occurred.
Yeah. And from the Vatican to Black farmers, particularly those in the South, Black farmers are filing a lawsuit against the USDA over $127 million in canceled grants. That's $127 million. That's real money that was promised and then canceled. Now, we've talked on this show before about how Black farmers have always been at the receiving end of broken promises from the federal government. And we're talking about a history going back to 40 Acres and a Mule. That whole betrayal after Reconstruction. This isn't new, but the lawsuit is. And the question is whether the courts will finally deliver what Congress and the executive branch keep refusing to do. Isaac, you've been tracking this issue pretty closely, particularly as it relates to farmers in rural areas of South Carolina. What do you make of this?
I think the lawsuit raises a larger question about trust and black farmers for generations, right? They face barriers to land ownership, to credit access, and just federal support in general. So the programs are usually announced with great fanfare, but communities, especially communities of color, they lose faith when they're promised stuff and they don't get it. So they deserve investment and they deserve fairness. And a government that shows true commitment to giving them what they need. I mean, for a lot of us, we grew up where your grandfather, grandmother would have a small farm in the backyard, and you would go out there and get tomatoes and go out there and get your okra or your peas, and you sit on the front porch of grandma and you would do that. They do this on a larger scale to put them in the grocery stores for people to go eat. They put them at the farmers market for people to go eat. And so we have to give them the resources they need to continue to do this for a lot of homes and a lot of food deserts that we have here in the South, particularly here in South Carolina. My area, for one, is a food desert in some parts of our county. So we rely on farmers very, very heavily and those fresh veggies and fruit and things that they bear at their farm. So we got to invest in them, that they continue to invest in our communities.
William, if you were a betting man, what are the odds? What are the odds that we're going to see any justice for black farmers related to this lawsuit, particularly as the Trump administration continues to govern the way they have been?
The courts have been surprising, right? And we've seen a mixed review, right? Even it's not relevant what we're talking about, even the Alabama redistricting, right? Where, on the appellate level, 2 of the 3 justices were appointed by Trump, and they voted that the redistricting maps were not compliant, right, with the Voting Rights Act. So it's really a mixed bag with courts, but the real question is enforcement, right? I think there was one of the older cases at the beginning of our country. An administrator said the courts have ruled, now let them enforce it, essentially, right? And so whether or not the administration will actually comply with what any court has said, or the length of time they will take to comply, is a whole other issue. So I'd say it's 50-50 in terms of how the court may respond.
When we come forward, listen, political scandals, they used to end careers. Did we lose that? Are we immune now? The conversation that you didn't know you needed. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Dr. Isaac Wilson and William Godwin.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh, no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Did you know that $60 billion are lost every year to Medicare fraud?
If someone has been a victim of healthcare fraud, the more we talk about that this occurs, older adults will feel more comfortable about sharing their experience.
It's not about someone not being smart enough or not paying enough attention. Falling victim to fraud can happen to anyone.
If I've been scammed, if I've experienced it and I'm angry about it and I want to do something about it, then I have an opportunity to volunteer and share with other people, here's what happened to me, but it doesn't have to happen to you.
Medicare fraud hurts people, it hurts Medicare, and we need your help to make a difference.
It's powerful to be able to address an issue like Medicare fraud, and being a volunteer for SMP gives you that power to do it.
If you have passion and dedication and want to be of service, we'd love to have you join our team.
For more information or to volunteer, visit californiasmp.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
All right, we're closing out hour one with something that is equal parts cultural critique and political science. And I want to be honest with you, this one has been sitting with me. NPR is asking, have political scandals lost their power? And when you look at the landscape, men and women who've been indicted, exposed, caught on tape, caught in receipts, caught in lies that were documented by their own staff, and they're still in office. They're still on ballots. They're still winning elections. You have to ask, what happened? Now, is this new? Is this unique to this moment? Or have we just finally pulled back the curtain on something that was always true about power and accountability? I want to pose something a little uncomfortable. Is part of what changed the fact that media fragmentation means there's no longer a shared public shame? You cannot be disgraced in front of an audience that doesn't share the information ecosystem. William?
You know, I think that because all of us are now exposed, right? If you think about it, we all have text messages we probably regret sending. We probably have some things that we have been videotaped on that we may not have been our finest moment. And so I think that to some degree, the public is giving grace because there's reflection on our own activities, right? So you can imagine 20, 30, 40 years ago, people didn't have as much exposure, right? So there weren't as many cameras around. Cell phones didn't do all the things they do now, people being recorded and so forth. And so I think there's some grace that the public is giving a lot of elected officials. On the other hand, I do believe that there is the Trump effect, right? I mean, he has been able to do so many things that traditionally would have been disqualifying or certainly would have caused someone to maybe even resign in some cases, that it has taken the bite away. I mean, how can you even begin to compete with some of the tweets that he has sent out on his own, right? Not what other people are accusing him of, but things he has just done, right? And so I think that has sort of changed the game in many ways.
What say you, Isaac Wilson? Have these political scandals, have they lost their power? And is it because of the media ecosystem? Door number one. Is it door number two because of the Trump effect? Or is it the mystery door, door number three? Oh, we can't hear you.
it might be a mystery door. I think for a lot of people, they view the criticism of their candidate as an attack on themselves. So some people are dealing with the same things that these candidates are dealing with, and they're saying, hey, I wouldn't want nobody to judge me for me going through my situation. So as long as these people are putting on a show and they're doing the do and they're making my life just a little better. And then sometimes, people become optional in their standards. Donald Trump can do it, but you better not do it because I hold you to a higher standard. So I think it's about who the candidate is and where the candidate comes from and what's the standard of that candidate. So Donald Trump gets away with a lot because it's just Donald Trump. He does these things versus it just being that shouldn't be done across the board.
Well, look, here's what I keep coming back to, and this is not cynicism, this is strategy. If the scandal no longer ends the career, then the movement has to do what the scandal used to do. The accountability has to be organized, it has to be voted, it has to be built. That's my hot take, and I'm sticking to it. But if we're waiting for the moment of public shame to do the work, it's not coming the way it used to. Isaac Wilson, William Godwin, thank you for joining us here on A More Perfect Union. Y'all have been incredible. Make sure to get some rest. You certainly have earned it. Hour 1 is in the books. When we come forward, we're going international. An earthquake off Cuba, Ebola on the rise in the Congo, and a poll that says Americans are feeling a lot less exceptional these days. And Idris Elba, he is out here making folks feel some kind of way. And while we're talking about folks feeling some kind of way, you're definitely gonna feel a whole wide range of emotions reading this book, The Double Dutch Fuss. Author Phill Branch also joins me when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump says the U.S. could work with Iran to destroy its highly enriched uranium if a deal is reached.
We'll take it out and destroy it.
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Trump said the two countries are very close to an agreement, but warned Iran could face more military action if talks fail. The Iowa Supreme Court says the University of Iowa cannot change how it distributes a privately funded scholarship intended for Black students. The donor's will specified the money should go to Black students majoring in the physical sciences. And Baltimore, Maryland's Safe Summer program is underway after Black Mayor Brandon Scott launched it at Druid Hill Park. The program includes community events and resources aimed at promoting peace and public safety. This year's theme is Breaking Chains, Chasing Change. Last year, Safe Streets held about 60 events, including block parties and school supply giveaways. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Wild Rivers is now open daily with over 25 slides and attractions for thrill seekers and lazy river chillers. Visit wildrivers.com for great values on season passes and daily tickets. That's wildrivers.com. Wild Rivers, where there's sun and fun for everyone.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The first NBA Finals game